the rapture in Matthew 24. There's been something bugging me for the last few weeks, so I finally decided to make a video about it. Here's the backstory. A few months ago I finally found a church where the pastor believes in the rapture and does actually mention it from time to time in his sermons, although it's not a major emphasis. So I started going to this church, and it's great. But a couple of weeks ago, I went to a social gathering at the church and was quite disturbed when one of the guys I was sitting at the lunch table with started attacking the pre-tribulation rapture, even admitting he had challenged the pastor of the church about his pre-tribulation stance and seemed quite angry that the pastor hadn't changed his views. But the verse he used to justify his post-tribulation stance was from Matthew 24. So I am going to go into two excerpts from the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 24 which could possibly be the rapture, and I am going to explain why one is the rapture and the other is not the rapture. You will see the two passages on the screen as I am explaining them. The first passage is Matthew 24 verses 29 to 31. 29 Immediately after the tribulation of those days the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. 30 Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. 31 And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. That last verse 31 is the verse used by my friend at the lunch table to justify his stance, and at first glance it seems cut and dried. But there is one word in this verse which turns the whole thing on its head. That one word is the word heaven. This verse cannot be about the rapture because firstly, the rapture is a snatching away from the earth, not a gathering from the four winds of heaven. You see, by the end of the tribulation those who are the elect, those who are destined to be saved from the beginning of time, will either be in heaven because of the rapture before the tribulation, or will end up in heaven as a result of being martyred during the tribulation. Thus they will be gathered from the four winds of heaven after the tribulation to join Christ on the earth for the millennial kingdom. The second passage which actually is about the rapture is Matthew 24 verses 40 to 44. 40 Then two men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. 41 Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and the other left. 42 Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. 43 But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. 44 Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. This is the passage that speaks of the rapture. One will be taken and one will be left. That taking is the snatching away. In the Greek it is paralambano, which means a taking to oneself. Jesus will be taking us to be where he is as he promised in John 14 verses 1 to 3. 14 Let not your heart be troubled, you believe in God, believe also in me too. In my Father's house are many mansions, if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. 3 And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. So don't be deceived by those who seize on a Bible verse that appears to support their position on the rapture but actually does not. As always, please like, comment and subscribe, and if the Lord doesn't tarry, see you on the other side.